The primary difference between uniforms of the pre-Civil War and the Civil War was in the tunic. In the Civil War, it was simplified so it could be more easily mass-produced. Another difference was in the hats. Officers were authorized to wear slouch hats, or what some people would call cowboy-style hats. As for the weapons, the sword used in the Civil War was lighter in weight. In 1863, the single-shot Sharps carbine was issued to cavalry troops. It was a breech loader, which made it easier to load while on horseback. The infantry rifles used in the war were still muzzle-loading muskets. Originally, Sharps used a paper cartridge. After the Civil War, these carbines were adapted to use metal cartridges. The pistols of the Civil War were still muzzle loaders. That is, each bullet cylinder had to be muzzle loaded in a Colt revolver. This took a long time and was difficult to do from horseback. Troops often carried a Colt revolver in a belt holster and two more in saddle holsters, one on each side of the saddle. So armed, a trooper could fire 18 shots without having to reload. The only problem was the Army only supplied one Colt revolver. If a trooper wanted more, he had to pay for them out of his own pocket. The equipment the model horse is supplied with, the McClellan saddle, the bridle, and the saddle blanket, are the same basic equipment used by the cavalry throughout the Civil War and the Western campaigns against the Indians. This model horse is also equipped with a pistol holster on each side of the saddle. Not shown are additional items that would usually have been carried on the horse, such as saddlebags and a blanket roll and other small items. However, a trooper had to be careful not to load down his horse too much. During the Civil War, swords were still widely used in combat. After the Civil War, the cavalry rarely used them in the field. Swords had more of a ceremonial purpose after the Civil War. After the Civil War, enlisted men were also authorized to wear the cowboy-style hat. Also, soldiers began using cowboy-style bullet belts. This was possible because after the Civil War, the use of metal cartridge cases became widespread. The metal bullets could be carried in the open belts. During the Civil War, paper cartridges were used and had to be carried in protective pouches. This was the great coat and cape worn by troopers in cold weather or when it rained. The cape could be pulled over the head and used as a hood. In 1873, the cavalry troops began being equipped with single-shot Model 1873 Springfield carbines. This was basically the same rifle the infantry used, but the cavalry version was 11 inches shorter and was not equipped with a bayonet. By this time, the revolvers used metal cartridges and were loaded from the back.